Brogdon is out. Not even out. Malcolm Brogdon retired. So, what does this mean for the New York Knicks? Because Malcolm Brogdon retiring kind of puts a hole in their game plan. Because they, according to the reports, they had intended Malcolm Brogdon to have a pretty significant role. Now, obviously, he was, going to be the third string point guard. And, he wasn't obviously going to start over Jalen Brunson. And he was even going to play backup to Miles McBride, third string. But that doesn't change the fact that they had significant plans for him to be a significant part of the rotation. And the fact that he just retired is a little mind-boggling to me and a lot of us. I'm sure you guys think the same thing, because I didn't see that coming. I didn't think he was retiring, especially again after the Knicks said that, they were going to give him a decent role. That's why it's more mind-boggling to me. Like, I understand, if it was somebody else who was, near the end of their career and they weren't guaranteed, any kind of playing time and stuff like that. And so I would understand that. But it's it's a little wild to me that, like, he literally was basically guaranteed playing time from what I read, and he's still retired. I don't know. I mean, obviously, like, it's his prerogative, like, right? Like, he, feels at this point in his career that he wants to be done with basketball for whatever reason. Like, he has been in the league for, a lot of time. Maybe part of it is the injuries. He suffered a fair amount of injuries throughout his career. And so maybe he just, didn't want to have to potentially deal with more injuries. I don't know. All I do know is I was shocked. And again, I'm sure you guys were shocked too. Somebody said, is Durant going to be good? What's your thoughts? Is he going to be good? I mean, Kevin Durant is always going to give you, 27 a night, like, is he going to be good? I mean, the answer is yes. Like, I expect him to still get, 25 to 27 a night and, do his thing. So, to answer your question, yes. Is he going to be like the MVP? I don't know. But he's definitely going to, he's going to do his thing. He's going to get like 25, 27 a night. So, yeah, he's going to be good. Barring injury, of course. That's the only thing that, hinders Kevin Durant is, when he gets injured, which unfortunately at this point in his career, he is a bit injury prone. But if Kevin Durant is out there, he's gonna, do his thing. So, yes, he's gonna be good. I'm still shocked about the Malcolm Brogdon thing. Like, that literally threw me for a loop, because I was gonna come on here and talk about, the LeBron thing, which we are going to talk about. But when I was, getting ready to go on, I didn't even see the Malcolm Brogdon thing. Like, I literally didn't see it until I was looking, and I was like, wait, when did Malcolm Brogdon retire? I was like, where did that come from? So Yeah, I'm still shocked at that. Congratulations to him on, a successful career. I know people will be like, "Oh, he didn't, you know, he wasn't." I always say LeBron, Steph Curry because they're just the easiest examples, for people to understand. But people will be like, "Oh, he didn't get 4 rings like LeBron and Steph Curry and blah 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 blah." But he did win Rookie of the Year. I think people forgot that. He won Rookie of the Year. Um, he was in the 50-40-90 club at least once, maybe twice. He did it at least once, though. It might have been his rookie year when he was 50-40-90. Um, and he had some good years in the league. Like, you know, there are different levels to success, of course. Um, so I'm not saying he had, you know, the most successful career there ever was. But he still, he was a good player in the league. Let's leave it at that, right? So now for the Knicks, though. Shout out to Landry Shamet and shout out to what's his name? Jemison. I can't remember his first name. Jemison, and there might be one other player who is um, still fighting for a roster spot. You know, with the remaining spots because Landry Shamet and Jemison, to my knowledge, are not officially signed. I think they're on, the training, I guess preseason training camp, we'll see who gets the spot. It might be somebody else, but I can't remember. And so congratulations to them because now they have a better chance of making the roster because one less person, right? I don't know. You would think that Landry Shamet would probably get a spot, right? Um, I guess we'll just have to wait and see, but I'm still shocked that Malcolm Brogdon retired. But let's talk about LeBron a little bit. So LeBron we talked about it in, the previous live stream about his injury, and LeBron is going to be out or rather until mid-November, according to the reports. And if LeBron is out till mid-November, that is not great. It's kind of around the timeline that I was talking about when I was, talking about LeBron potentially being out. I don't know how many games that would put the Lakers at in mid-November, but I was saying that um, if he misses 16 games and the season starts, October, what, 22nd or something like that. Um, October 22nd and mid-November. I don't know. I'm not going to calculate how many games that is. But I said 16 when I originally was, just making up a number. And again, I'll reiterate. Yes, LeBron is not out the whole season. That is great news, of course. But in the West, you need every single game. Like, every single game matters. And if LeBron is, like I said, out 16 games, whatever it is, that is going to put a significant, potential dent in their standings. Because I said, even if the Lakers went 8-8, right? If they go 8-8, 500 is a decent status. But in the Western Conference, You need every single game you can get. And so I was saying, if they go with LeBron, let's say they went 12-4, that makes, I know it's not that many games difference, but in the West, it makes a significant difference because one game can literally put you out of a playoff spot, because 7 and 8 are now play in. So you can go from 6 to 7 having to fight for your playoff spot. You can go from 7 and 8 to 9 and 10, where, yeah, you're in the playing tournament still, but if you lose, you're out. And again, one game could put you from 10 to 11, and then you're not in at all. And so that's why I think the LeBron injury is not season ending, of course, because LeBron is going to be back and they still have Luka and they expect DeAndre Ayton, to have a good season for them. But again, I know it's like everyone's saying the same thing, but it really, every single game really does matter in the West. And so I am not saying the Lakers are out of it. I am not saying that, when LeBron comes back, that they can't and won't go on a run. And I'm also not saying that with LeBron out, that they can't win any games, because we know what Luka can do, right? But it is definitely, something to watch, you know, especially because it's a sciatica injury. And to my knowledge on, how sciatica injuries kind of are, they aren't necessarily like, like a broken foot where you break your foot and you take the time to rehab and heal, and, best case scenario, once it's healed, it's, healed properly, right? A sciatica injury, to my knowledge, and I'm not a doctor, so no medical advice here, but uh, to my knowledge, a sciatica injury is kind of like, I don't want to say it doesn't ever go away, but it's kind of like you can have like flare ups and stuff like that. Like, I feel like, again, not a doctor, I am not saying I'm 100% right on this, but to me, from the people that I have known who have had, sciatica injuries, it's kind of like more muscular in terms of like, if it gets stiff and stuff like that, and that can just happen with any part of your body because your entire body is made up of fascia. Literally your entire body, from your head to your toes. It's like, if you don't know what fascia is, you can look it up after this video, but your entire body is made up of fascia. Like, the fascia is kind of like a spider web, I guess that's the best way to describe it, and it interconnects to every single cell, organ, you know, bones, everything in your body, right? So when the fascia gets tight, it's a whole system. So you can imagine if the fascia gets tight, and this is not necessarily related, but I'm just giving you an example. If the fascia gets tight in your, in your jaw, in your foot and stuff like that, it can also affect other parts of your body because it's all interconnected. It's like, a web. So, I say all that to say, um, again, I'm not a doctor. I'm not an expert on sciatica injuries. But again, to my knowledge, similar to like fascia, it's more muscular in the sense of like, if it gets tight for whatever the reason is, you can have like a flare up, which is why I'm saying, like, I'll say it one more time, not a doctor, not an expert. This is just my understanding. Whereas again, like a broken foot, a broken, finger, like breaking a bone, like that obviously hurts. And, you can not heal properly and continue to have inflammation, unfortunately, sometimes too. But I'm saying, like, if it heals properly, it shouldn't, flare up in the same way, if that makes sense. I don't know if that made sense, but again, not a doctor. Anyway, my point on LeBron and his injury is that um, if it is one of those things where it's a reoccurring, you know, day to day thing, like, yes, he's going to take his time to come back and he's going to feel good, of course, when he comes back. But is he going to come back and then is it going to start to hurt again? Is kind of what I'm saying. And hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully, we know LeBron takes care of his body. He's very dedicated to, working out and recovery. And he spends, he spends enough, I'm not counting his pockets, but he spends enough money to make sure that he has all the proper, you know, recovery and nutrition and all those things. So, there's only so much you could do, and he's going to do his best. But that's definitely something to look out for. But yeah, so thank you guys so much for watching this live stream. I hope you enjoyed, and see you soon.